Should Daniel Bryan beat The Fiend at the Royal Rumble? I am Chopper Pete Quinnell. This is Randy Andy Dats, and welcome to the WrestleTalk live review of SmackDown, the holiday special, even though last week was also the holiday special.
Felt very special. In fact, there were fewer holiday special things on this show, I would say, than there were last week.
Correct. Please give us a like and a subscribe and share this video with everyone. Leave us a comment below if you're watching this on catch up to let us know what you thought of SmackDown, and get in if you're watching live. Get in your super chats, because we're going to be going through those after the main talking point and at the end of the show as well. But first, let's talk about Daniel Bryan. So, on this show, there was an awful lot of Daniel Bryan, The Miz, and Baron Corbin. This went throughout the whole show.
I would say a good third to a half of this show was focused just on this storyline.
Absolutely. And it didn't really change anything, because before this episode started, it was announced that it was going to be Daniel Bryan versus The Miz versus King Corbin to determine the new #1 contender for the Fiend's Universal Championship, which would happen at Royal Rumble. And the main event was Daniel Bryan versus The Miz versus King Corbin, but we had a bunch of stuff to get through first before we got there. So it started off and it said, it's going to kick off the show. And I was like, cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the main event's going to be, but
I like a hot start to a show.
Sure, why not? So Daniel Bryan came out, but then King Corbin came out on his sedan chair, and he was like, no, I need to do a promo first. And I was like, okay. So then he cuts a promo, says that Bryan and Miz are bad fathers, and that he shouldn't even have to challenge for the Universal Championship because he's earned it because he's beaten Roman Reigns twice, which no one has done since he's returned. Which is actually a pretty cool stat, I guess. It's a nice little, I don't want to call him a justified heel, but that's a nice, a reasoning for the heel to be annoyed at this. But then that brings out Roman Reigns, who got annoyed at that for reasons. And the people carrying Corbin drop him off his sedan chair, which was kind of weird.
Luckily, it was only the people on the right-hand side of the sedan chair who drop him. He kind of looks at them going, "What are you doing, guys?" And they'll go like, have you seen this? You know the scene in Shrek where Shrek's like, "You and what army?" And then the guy sort of turns around and realizes that no one's
behind him.
So Corbin turns around. Obviously, Roman's there. Punches him a few times, and then Corbin escapes into the crowd. And then it sort of said,
and then it's just an ad break, and I was like, so are we just doing Bryan Miz, or what are we doing now?
But I mean, because I'd actually at this point completely forgotten everything that had happened. But luckily, immediately after the ad break, there was a recap of those 3 minutes. So then it was stuck in my mind as to what happened.
But then they went backstage, and Corbin was yelling at random backstage personnel, number 3.
Well, he was yelling at what looked like himself without a beard.
Without a beard, yeah.
It felt like a bit like a Bray Wyatt promo from about 3 years ago.
That's true, yeah. He's just saying that the match should be postponed. So then they're just like, well, we don't know what's going to happen with this match, so let's go to something else. But later on, there was... it got announced... who was it? Was it Caleb Braxton that was backstage? I think so.
It was Caleb Braxton.
Yeah.
She just kind of goes, "What was that all about?"
Yeah.
One
of them.
Yeah, so she announces, having spoken to...
Random personnel man number 3.
That Corbin was refusing to compete, and therefore it would be a singles match
between Bryan and Miz,
which
that's fine.
Was when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, great!
Yeah,
I'm
that's
happy
all right
with
then.
that." I don't really want to, because it was obviously going to then be the main event.
Totally.
I was like, a main event without Baron Corbin. That's the first time I've seen that in a few months, so I'm happy with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I was very happy with that. But then midway through the show, I was like, Daniel Bryan's in the ring with no entrance. I was like, so this isn't the main event.
He'd already had one earlier.
Exactly. So they didn't want to double up on it. So I was like, so this isn't the main event then. And then The Miz came out, and Miz got pyro in his entrance. I was like, okay, this is the match. Cool.
Carmella got pyro on her entrance, so it's not that special anymore.
That's true. But then it starts off feeling like it's going to be like a big, long match. There's like a little opening sequence. They're feeling each other out, trying to get in their moves. They have a double crossbody spot. And then King Corbin's security run down and cause a double DQ.
The moment they both went down, I was like, well, this is the moment that the match gets stopped, isn't it? Yeah, so they all come down. They get easily beaten up.
Yeah.
And then so it's a double DQ. And they were thinking kind of, right, so we have to do this match again.
Yeah. It cuts backstage to Corbin. He's in gorilla position. And he's saying, that's justice, or something.
Yeah, I think I get what they're trying to do, and in some ways it really worked because the crowd kept booing. Like they were booing and booing and booing because you want to see this match. You've been promised this match twice now, and it keeps getting delayed. So in a way, it's actually really quite clever the way they're doing it.
Yes.
I can understand why someone like myself would be frustrated, but other people were clearly we're eating it up.
Yeah, totally.
And it's a really good way to build heat because you are just annoying people, really, on purpose, which is a great sort of heel move.
It is, yeah. And it's good that they did eventually do the match because if they had postponed it to the next week, then that's just false advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just not great. But they did end up doing the match eventually. There was a bit where King Corbin in Gorilla says it's justice, and then Kayla Braxton informs him that Roman Reigns has been invited to leave the arena or something like that. He's been told to leave the arena.
He's been told to leave the arena, which is code for he's going to come out later.
Yeah.
I would be so happy if they just stopped saying that.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Because if you just say, if they've been escorted away, don't mention it, because the fact that they then appear later is more surprising. But because it's because they have been banned from the arena is now a synonym for they're going to
show
interfere.
up later. Yeah.
It's not surprising anymore. So you're just sort of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
And also, this feud has been built so you also know that Dolph Ziggler is going to appear at some point. And
probably.
lo and behold, he does.
But yeah, so because Roman Reigns has been asked to leave the arena, Corbin's like, you know what? I will fight tonight. I'm feeling it now. So then eventually we get to the main event, which is Miz versus Bryan versus Corbin. And you know what? It's a really bloody good match.
It was a good match.
Really enjoyed it.
A particular spot that I really liked. Actually, I thought that Miz looked quite good in this.
Miz looked great.
He was really fired up. He was sort of he was attacking Bryan, and then Corbin would try and intervene, but Miz would generally fight him off.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And there was a really nice spot where Bryan had got Corbin in the figure four, his version of the figure four.
You mean Miz?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Pete.
No worries.
And then Bryan sort of intervened with his label lock, and I was it was really nice spot.
Yeah.
Because Corbin had reversed the pressure.
Yeah, Bryan rolled Corbin over to reverse the pressure onto Miz, so he was hurting Miz, and then put the bell lock in Corbin, so he was hurting both of them at the same time.
Yes.
With Corbin doing half the... It was great. Yeah, it was a really, really inventive spot.
Cool move.
Yeah.
And then, Ziggler comes in, hits
a super kick onto Bryan. Bryan hit a running knee onto Corbin, so it looked like Bryan was going to win, but then Ziggler came out of nowhere, hit a super kick on Bryan, and then he rolled Corbin onto Bryan, almost going to win, but then Corbin gets dragged out of the ring. By who? By the big dog. Roman Reigns, once again. Ooh-ah. And then he beats down Corbin, and it goes straight to an ad break. And I was like, whoa, okay. I thought that was the end of the match. Apparently not. And we come back, and Reigns and Corbin have brawled out of the arena, so we're just told on commentary.
They're not here anymore.
They're just not here. So now it's Miz and Bryan one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I had a prediction, which I'm really glad didn't come true. I was like, I swear to God, if they say now it's a singles match and they have a DQ finish, when it started off as a triple threat, I swear to God, but they didn't.
I actually thought this was the best Bryan-Miz match we'd had in this whole sort of their feud, because their ones not last year, but earlier in 2019 were pretty poor. Well,
I think the builds were really good.
Yeah,
but I don't think the matches didn't reach that caliber of the build. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a fun match. Miz was kind of working heel almost. He was targeting the knee of Daniel Bryan, which it's quite a cool thing, because obviously Daniel Bryan's finisher is the running knee.
Yeah.
So that was a cool. He sort of did this sort of like a shin breaker from
the middle rope. Jumped off and did a shin breaker. It was really, really cool.
Did another few. Like Bryan was struggling to hit his yes kicks.
Great selling from Bryan.
Absolutely. And I think The Miz kind of forgot that Bryan has 2 finishers. So, yeah, Bryan locks in the label lock and Miz taps.
Yeah.
So
Bryan kicks out of the skull crushing finale before that as well, which was nice.
He does,
Which was a nice little spot where, it looked like he was going to win. It was actually really cool from Miz. He hit the skull crushing finale, but then pinned him in a way so that as soon as Bryan kicks out, he goes straight into a figure 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really cool spot. But yeah, he gets in like a modified label look, and then he kind of grabs his arm and then transitions to the face.
Yeah.
Miz trying not to have his hips on the floor, so he was trying to scrambling sideways and stuff. It was really, really well done. But yeah, Bryan gets the submission victory. Quick Firefly Funhouse appears on the screen, just being like, I don't know if he is done with you.
Ooh.
Talking about the Fiend. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Are you willing to let him in? And then it goes to Fiend face. It cuts back to Bryan, and he just starts celebrating, does a yes chant to end the show. I thought it was pretty well done, honestly.
Yes.
I think the story got a bit convoluted throughout the show. It's kind of, it's a triple threat. It's a singles match. It's a triple threat. It's a singles match. It kind of went back and forth a bit too many times.
But it was also a bit sort of like, okay, you've done this one too many times
Exactly.
now.
It did feel a bit repetitive by the end.
The question is, Pete, should Daniel Bryan beat The Fiend
I was getting there, Datsun.
at Royal Rumble? And the answer is no.
I don't think he should, no. I think this story has been really, really good. And I love that the transformation he's done on Bryan made him go back to, his roots, how he kind of started this decade. But I think it's too early for The Fiend to lose. And I think that there's so much story potential for Bryan if he loses going on for Miz and or Corbin or all these other avenues he can take after it that isn't him beating The Fiend. Yeah. Now, I will say, though, if he does beat The Fiend, I don't think I'm going to complain. I still think that Bryan beating The Fiend, I think that's actually okay.
I think Ollie and Luke could take a week off if that happened.
I don't think they will.
I think it would be very damaging.
You reckon?
And
he's already damaged, though. Hell in a Cell.
I know, but
really killed him.
You don't want to damage him more. Is it like?
I don't think it will, though. I think that he's already had that moment of damage, which is irreparable. He's not going to be ever at the same level as he was before Hell in a Cell this year. No. So I think if Bryan beats him at Rumble, I think that's okay if it plays into a story. If there's some sort of repercussion from it moving forwards, if The Fiend has an extra character trait because of it, I'm okay with it.
I think there are 2 ways this should go. One is that The Fiend just squashes Bryan in a minute. Just
I love that.
Completely takes him out, and then everyone's like, "Oh man, he just did that to Daniel Bryan. Like that's crazy." Like, because in that way they can rebuild him as this. Because as you said, they've done loads of damage to him as a sort of person who just takes lots of moves and kicks out. That's not what you want. You want someone who just wins.
Yeah.
Or you have him actually struggle a bit and then just get himself DQ'd in a kind of just by sort of destroying Bryan, like getting a weapon of some kind and just completely just ripping him to pieces. Because I think he has to win, and I think he has to at least have it to WrestleMania. It seems like they're building towards Roman Reigns versus The Fiend, which obviously you would expect Roman to win because there'll be a sort of, who can defeat this man?
Do you mean to tell me that they want to have a Roman Reigns crowning moment at WrestleMania?
I know it's a shock. It's a shock idea, but
what?
I think they might.
I don't think they've ever done that before.
I think they might go for it this year because they've probably been reading WrestleTalk.com.
Bold prediction, that.
And I'm going for it. I'm sticking my neck out. And I think they're going to do it. But to answer the question, no, he shouldn't win. I would have been much more disappointed if someone else had beaten him. Daniel Bryan's a more worthy winner.
Totally.
However, I don't want him to win, and I don't think he should win because he's not. He can lose as many times he like, and he won't lose anything out of it.
That's true. Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think Bryan should win. I don't think I'm going to be as mad as I would be for someone else. But yes, I agree. I don't think he should win. But let's see what you guys thought. Let's get into some Super Chats, or in this case, Super Chat, singular, from Jobber JJ, who just says, "Hello, lads. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Who in WWE feels like the Royal Rumble winner, male or female? We all say Roman, but is he really?"
Probably.
I think it's going to be Roman and Corbin as the final two.
I shall.
And he'll eliminate
That's
Corbin.
a good idea. I'll check what.
No, it's not. It's a terrible idea.
No. That's a good idea. And that's probably what's going to happen.
It's a good prediction.
Yeah.
Are you going to look up the live
I'm going
betting
to
odds?
check the current betting odds. I believe last time I checked, it was Roman and Ronda.
Ronda is a very good shout.
So Roman Reigns is favourite, then
Big fave.
and CM Punk, Kevin Owens, Bray Wyatt, and Cain Velasquez.
Ugh.
The latest is that Velasquez isn't going to be facing Brock at WrestleMania.
Mania, yes.
Oh,
Nor is Tyson Fury.
new favourite for the Women's Royal Rumble. It is no longer Ronda Rousey. She is now second favourite, and the new favourite is Shayna Baszler.
Ooh,
And
that's very possible.
Absolutely,
I could
see that happen. They gave her the crowning moment at Survivor Series.
Totally.
They've pushed her. Apparently, everyone really likes her. Everyone likes the way she works.
And they could totally do a Shayna Becky match at Mania because
they've already had that.
And Shayna won at Survivor Series, tapping out Bayley rather than Becky. So they've still got that tension. They have that really cool video package together, that sit-down interview together in the build to Survivor Series. So yeah, I'd be well up for that. That would be awesome.
Let's have a look. Should we see who the lowest bottom favourite is?
Bottom favourite, yeah, let's do it.
Stephanie McMahon.
150 to 1.
150 to 1.
Nice.
Zaya Lee is 151.
That
150 to 1
is
as well.
not surprising also.
So good luck, Zaya. I think you're
Good
going to
luck,
do
Zaya Lee.
it. But to answer the question, I think it probably will be them. But if it's not them, you'd want it to be someone. You'd want it to make a new star. So maybe someone like Drew McIntyre. I would
Aleister
love
Black.
to see him win. Aleister Black. On
Buddy
the
Murphy.
on the women's side, someone coming up from NXT. Yeah, like Shayna Baszler is a great idea. I actually think that's the best idea. Or maybe someone like Dakota Kai. I don't know. Just build a star. If not, then I think Bobby Lashley and Lana should win.
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke's not going to win.
You don't know that.
No.
Anyway, let's get into the rest of the show. So, the rest of SmackDown opened up. Sorry, the episode of SmackDown opened up with Elias. And he started when I say we need Elias, you say yes we do.
Should we do a quick reenactment of this? I'll go. When I say Elias, what was it?
We need Elias.
We need Elias. You
yeah.
say. Yeah, the crowd didn't get into this.
Didn't really. I think it was about 2 people that
it
tried
was
to
quite
back
awkward.
It
Like the second time, maybe 10 people joined in. But yeah, the first time he said it, and they kind of.
Elias then ran down the card for that night, talking about how Lacey Evans is going to be on a moment of bliss. We had the triple threat with
the
Miz
return of a moment of bliss. What I've been waiting for. That's my real Christmas present this year.
That's true. Yeah. I would be perfectly okay with this every single week if it was more funny. Because I think there was a couple of jokes at the start which were fine. He got massive round of applause at the end of his little performance running down the card.
Yes.
So I think if he keeps doing this, will be
that's
right.
because he ended with some. He said Shane McMahon sucks and things like that. So
That was at the start.
Yeah,
he said
throughout,
it's Friday Night SmackDown and it starts right now.
He was building. He was building up, and interestingly, I thought the most interesting thing about this was that it was before the opening credits, because normally you do the opening credits and then you
cold
go,
open. Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, Elias.
Yes.
But yeah, no, actually, it opened the show, and then you had the. Pete really likes that.
Hate that opening music so much.
But
it's a fine song. It's a bad song to open a wrestling show.
But no, it was cool. It was a different opening, and I like it when they try new things. So thumbs
agreed.
up.
Thumbs up for me.
But I still don't think Elias is a babyface.
It's strange, isn't it?
I know he is. I know he is a babyface.
Yeah.
But I don't think he should be a babyface.
No.
He is so much better as a heel. He gets so much more crowd reaction as a heel. Because he's really good at saying hometown suck. And what better way to get heat?
Yeah. After the opening, Bryan, Corbin, Reigns stuff. We have a 6-man tag next, which is the New Day and Braun Strowman, so Kingston and Big E, versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn is wrestling again
for the first time.
Good God!
Since on TV, he's done house shows, but for the first time since the 19th of August.
That's my birthday, my actual birthday.
You've just ruined this now. August 19 for our American watchers.
Yes. That's a long bloody time.
The first round of the King of the Ring tournament, which was obviously won by Baron Corbin.
That's 4 bloody months. But they've not used Sami Zayn as a wrestler.
He was injured.
But he's the best wrestler. He's not the best. He is
one
of the best wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very nice to see him in his very plain trunks, tights, I guess. But yeah, no, it was a fun match.
It was. This was a really fun match. It started off, one thing, I was like, okay, 6-man tag, this will probably be a little bit fun. Generally, 6-man tags in WWE are. And there was one thing that just really piqued my interest. As they went into an ad break, Cesaro hit the biggest uppercut in the world to Kofi Kingston over the commentary table.
And he does that thing that footballers do when they kick someone by going, I didn't touch him. He's just dived.
He dived over the commentary table.
Absolutely. It was kind of like, awesome. Okay, this is a fun match. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really fun match.
This is a really fun match, yeah. And then there was another one after the ad break when, again, Kingston was the one that got beaten down in this match repeatedly. Yeah. They did a really long beatdown, but it was a fun beatdown. It wasn't like a long, here's a rest hold, here's a rest hold, tag in, here's a rest hold. It was a really fun, entertaining beatdown of Kingston, which really organically built to a massive Braun Strowman hot tag. Yeah. There was another really good uppercut from Cesaro. Kingston sold it like a champ. Yeah. He just collapsed. It was awesome.
No, I knew the hot tag was coming. Everyone knows the hot tag's coming. Of course you do. But the more you delay it, and when you delay it by not doing rest holds, the crowd's building and building and building. When they finally do it was massive. He just runs into the ring, just shoulder charges everyone. Then he realizes that everyone is outside the ring. And you know what? I really liked the fact that they didn't just do him running round and round and round and round. They stopped it. So what was it? Nakamura jumps in.
By Nakamura being awesome,
with a massive knee off the steps.
Yeah.
It was just really nice to see them change it up, because you kind of, with WWE, a lot of the spots are for kids, should we say?
Yes.
Because everyone wants to see specific spots in a match. But to see it kind of interrupted by something new and interesting was really fun to see.
It was really, really nice. There was a bit where Nakamura was going to get power slammed by Strowman, but Cesaro saved him, then does his springboard corkscrewing uppercut thing that he does to Strowman, which took him off his feet, which is great. That wasn't like a little I'm going to no-sell this uppercut.
Yeah, and there was a bit really, around the outside the ring where Cesaro just runs into Strowman, and Strowman goes flying, and it's like, I just forgot how good Cesaro is.
I know, Cesaro is awesome.
He's so strong, and they do these mini power spots for him. But then he loses the next week to whoever you like.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, and then the finish came when Nakamura grabbed the pancake tray that Kingston came out with that he carries his pancakes on, and he looks like he's gonna hit Strowman with it while the ref is distracted. But Kingston comes up, grabs the pancake tray, donk over Nakamura's head, which allows Nakamura to be power slammed by Strowman for Strowman to pick up the pinfall victory. And honestly, I know it's never really fun when your champions get pinned. I am perfectly okay with Nakamura getting pinned here because he's protected from the fact that they used the foreign object on him. So he's protected in that way. And the referee was distracted. It was a big 6-man tag schmoz, as it were. And then Strowman won with a power slam. And it sets up a Strowman-Nakamura IC title plan, probably for the Rumble.
We never put pancake platters on our T-shirts, did we, as the foreign objects?
No, we should. We should look into that.
Have to do it at WrestleTalkMerch.com.
WrestleTalkMerch.com. Good plug.
But, it was a really fun match. And then after the
Speaking of fun...
the New Day is sort of dancing around, and they're trying to get... And they sort of say, you always say, get these hands... But
this time for Detroit, they should get this dance.
Which they should have just said, get these hips.
Get these
obviously,
hips. Totally.
Which the crowd started chanting.
Yeah.
And he sort of pushes away Kofi and Big. I don't think anyone's fault. He was obviously going to do it.
Of course.
But he does a fun dance.
Yeah.
Which
it's just,
whatever.
You know what?
It's a fun moment.
There was
I'm not
massive
I'm not going to complain about it.
house show vibes on this one.
Absolutely.
Is what it was.
And
I
then-
said, I'm not going to complain. It was fun.
We got an advert. Did you see this? For Bobby Lashley and Lana's wedding on Monday's episode of Raw.
Totally.
And
It's going to be a fun time.
Forgot how much I hate this. I'm not a particularly negative person when it comes to this sort of thing, but
I think that's the funniest joke you made all day, mate.
that it just reminded me of how appalling this whole thing is. I know people.
It's really bad.
know people find it really entertaining, but I can't bring myself to.
I know.
And then we got another recap of what happened earlier.
And we get a recap of Roman Reigns getting dog food poured over him, which is always something I want to be reminded
Absolutely,
of.
because I just forgot.
But then backstage, Sonya Deville is signing some magazines. In walks Mandy Rose.
For who?
I don't know. But Mandy Rose walks in and just says, "Hey, I've got a match next. Let's go." And Sonya Deville was like, "You didn't come for my match last week. Why would I come out for your match this week?"
Which they didn't mention, but they made up on WWE.com exclusive. They were like really happy and friendly after that, but they clearly, because that wasn't on TV, they've just gone, "Oh no, you want to
it doesn't count.
You want to be annoyed at each other next week." So as you said, so she was like, "Oh well, I'll just finish signing these and then I'll come out to your match with Carmella. Don't worry, I'll be there."
Yeah. And it was because Mandy had Otis's sweat over her from the hug last week is why she couldn't go out.
Absolutely.
So she's, goes away with her magazines. And Otis walks in holding a big cake, a fruit cake. And he says, "It's a homemade fruit cake. It's got fruit in it," which is a great line. Mandy says it's really sweet. And then she takes it and she walks off. And Otis kind of does like a little, as she's walking away, like reaches his hand out. Otis is great.
Do you
bloody love
think
Otis
that Mandy's in love? Do you think, perhaps, that she has been swept away by the currents?
The currants. As in?
The currents in the cake.
In the fruitcake. The currents.
Has she been swept away by the currents? Like in a river?
It's not as good as your previous ones, mate.
No.
In previous weeks.
It's been a tough week, everyone.
It has, yeah. Christmas has really got to you.
Yeah. But I don't like fruitcake. I mean, I would have been really quite disappointed with that.
Hey, it's homemade. Appreciate the effort.
Did you say his mum made it?
Yes.
Yeah. Pre-sliced and then iced, which is a very unusual way of doing a cake, I have to say.
Hashtag pre-sliced and iced. So it looks like Mandy and Sonya might be kind of breaking up. There's a lot of tension with Otis kind of getting involved with Mandy, and maybe Sonya's going to start blaming Otis and be like, no, he's distracting you from what's important and all that jazz. There's a lot of tension playing up that, which was played up later on, which we'll get on to.
You don't need to break them up because they're not doing anything anyway.
Not at all.
And as soon as they become single stars, they'll just become single stars who lose.
The thing
anyway.
is, though,
and they're just at the moment they're just a tag team that loses. And if you break them up, then they're just two single stars who lose.
At the minute, they're still having singles matches anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to break them up. But hey ho, whatever.
They're building Carmella. So
speaking of singles matches,
yes,
Carmella versus Mandy Rose happened without Sonya Deville. She didn't come out.
Weird thing about this match is that Corey Graves' gimmick is that he finds Mandy Rose the most intoxicating woman in the world.
I know, yeah.
While his real life girlfriend is having a match with her.
I know,
so he's kind of going,
crazy.
"Oh, Mandy's so attractive." When he's like, she's being beaten up by his girlfriend. So it was an interesting dynamic.
Carmella had a little in-screen promo as this match started, just saying she's a former SmackDown Women's Champion, former first Miss Money in the Bank, etc. But this match actually got a little bit longer than normal. It was like 5 minutes rather than 1, which is better. And it was okay. There was a couple of nice little spots. Mandy hits a nice knee kick.
It was a 2-star solid normal match.
Yeah.
And Carmella wins with a super kick. But yes, Sonya was not at ringside.
Yeah. There was a nice little sequence of roll-ups before that, I thought, which came with then a super kick, and then Carmella picked up the win. It's a bit unfortunate that Carmella got the win. Hey, Carmella got the win. Now let's talk about the main event. It was a very quick okay, that's done. Women's stuff out the way. Let's talk about the main event.
As usual.
But Sonya Deville wasn't there for that. See how that plays into it next week. Sheamus cuts the same promo that he's been cutting forever now, saying it's a new SmackDown, blah, 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 blah. He's going to come and destroy people. Sure.
I genuinely don't remember anything he said because I just assumed it was the same as last week.
It is.
At least they're not saying coming soon. They're just saying Sheamus
at least not coming
because
soon.
they're not just saying coming soon because then that could be WrestleMania or like Royal Rumble 2034.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to him coming back, but this is getting a bit tiresome.
Yes, agreed. We then get the return of a moment of bliss.
Finally.
And I like the way they introduce this. It's Alexa Bliss and her best friend, Nikki Cross.
Because everyone's best friends with everyone.
Everyone's best friends.
But yeah, and she even lets Nikki speak. And she's like, "Ooh, welcome, Lacey Evans, to the show." Hello, Scotland. And
oh my God, what's her name? Who did that just sound like? What's her bloody name? The presenter woman. What is her name? I've got a picture of her face in my head and I can't get rid of it. Lots of things. She does a lot of like morning shows and stuff like that.
Oh, Lorraine Kelly.
Yes, Lorraine Kelly. That's who you sounded like.
Shout out to you, Lorraine.
Shout out to all the American viewers who will not get that reference.
But yeah, so
Lorraine
she
Kelly
introduces Lacey Evans, and Alexa kind of reminds Lacey that Sasha was very mean to her and her daughter, and then Lacey says kind of, I'm proud of my kid. If you do
She's
that in front of my kid, I snap. The last thing you want to do is mess with the child of a mother.
Yeah.
Which is every child ever. Because if you're a child, you have a mother.
You have a mother.
So yeah. I think she got her words mixed up. But it was it was an acceptable promo. And what I liked was that she wasn't a stupid babyface. She said,
no.
If I sit here for any longer, they're going to blindside me. So I'm going to get to the ring so they can't kind of attack me from behind, which is cool, which is like fired up. But like I like that. It's stopping what I thought was. She basically said, "This is what you all thought was going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm going to stop that from happening."
Yes.
But then it happened anyway to
Dana
Brooke.
Because she's not as important as Lacey Evans.
Dana Brooke with her word art entrance.
I thought it was a good promo from Lacey Evans, and she's actually a pretty decent babyface.
Yes.
I think she's coming off as quite sympathetic. It's a very easy story to sell, to be like, you're messing with my daughter, don't do that. But yeah, I think she's doing pretty well. As Dana Brooke comes out, as you mentioned, she's being dragged out by Bayley and Banks, and Banks gets on the mic and just be like, "Hey, you may be a good mother, but you're a terrible tag team partner."
Why didn't they move any of the Moment of Bliss stuff? They just kind of left the set there.
I think probably because Lacey Evans went off the script and walked to the ring before it could end.
The guys in the black
probably
t-shirt
like
couldn't get there in time.
I know, yeah. But then they all brawl, goes to an ad break, comes back, and the match is underway. I thought this match was actually pretty okay again. This was actually pretty decent. It built to a hot tag for Lacey. And Lacey's hot tag was actually pretty good, I thought. Yep. She's got some nice offense that can get the crowd going. There was a lot of, she did a little, I forget what you call it, like a slingshot elbow over the top rope. And she did a really nice moonsault, the one where she goes on the middle rope. She did a little salute, jumps up to the top as she spins around and does a moonsault off it. It was cool.
The problem with Evans at the start of her main roster run was that she had quite a cool moveset, but she kept just botching every move she did.
Yeah.
And there was that horrible... who did she hit that? Natalia, I think she hit a really horrible moonsault on because she just landed like knees first into her like gut and her in her chest. But she hit this one really cleanly. She's hitting. I really like her moonsault. She's so her moonsault, her slingshot elbows. You said she's got some really like a nice just a nice sort of move set.
Yeah.
And Dana Brooke has just improved beyond
so much,
anything. She's never going to be particularly over with the crowd, but using her as a kind of lackey for Lacey Evans as sort of like a sympathetic babyface to take the pins or the submissions as she did in this. But there was a nice moment where Sasha ducks a women's right and she just clocks Bayley
instead, which was nice.
But the finish comes where I think is it Sasha throws. Or someone throws Lacey into the corner. She does the Braun Strowman shoulder first into the corner post spot. And then Dana tries to roll up Sasha, but then gets rolled up into
the bank
statement. She taps pretty quickly.
But I thought it was a solid finish. It was really like smoothly done. From the roll up straight into the bank statement was a really, really nice like transition. There was a couple of good spots peppered throughout the match. It was a nice hot tag from Lacey. it had everything it really needed to do. I thought it was really, really cool. The only downside, I think, to this feud is that it's building the feud between Lacey and Banks more than it is Lacey and Bayley. It kind of feels like Bayley, who's the champion, is like the third wheel of this feud, which is a bit... It's not great, and you should really be building Bayley a bit more.
I can see... So Bayley announced on the show that Bayley is now the longest-running SmackDown Women's Champion, which usually means that she's about to drop it.
Yes.
So I think Lacey's going to beat her at Royal Rumble.
At Royal Rumble, yeah.
And then Lacey's first feud will be with Sasha Banks. I think that's
that makes sense, yeah.
The easiest thing to do. But, yeah, and then so we had that match. It finished. They kind of celebrating. And then we cut backstage to Dolph Ziggler trying to step on Otis's turf.
Quite literally.
And flirt with Mandy.
Yeah.
And he kind of says, so the cake is there. And he's like, you got me a cake. Oh, you shouldn't have.
You shouldn't have.
And she's sort of like, oh, no, it's not yours. Otis gave this to me. And he's like, oh, and sort of tries a bit the icing and kind of, you don't want this. It's probably like it's better for the cockroaches. Puts it on the floor and steps on it. In fact, you could say,
oh no,
that the cake was battered. He battered the cake. So then, he walks off, and Mandy sort of looks a bit upset.
Yes, she does.
It was a present, and she was probably gonna be tucking into that after the show.
Tucky into that.
Yeah, that wasn't actually that was
almost one. But then Ziggler gets dragged away just as he's about to try and make New Year's plans with Mandy. He gets dragged away by Corbin, who says he needs to speak to him. Wonder what that could be about. And then after that, I thought that was a nice little segment as well. It's classic storytelling where you've got the guy who's like kind of the guy that shouldn't have the girl, quote unquote, and you've got the cocky high school jock in Dolph Ziggler,
with the long hair
who,
and the muscles,
wants to try and get the hot girl and all that stuff. It's basic storytelling, but it's really doing the job.
Here's how good Otis is. My brother never watches wrestling. He never ever watches it. But I got a text from him the other night saying, I was just up, and they were doing the highlights of SmackDown. I love Otis, and I was like, yeah, I mean,
he's great, yeah,
because he just saw him just like doing his caterpillar in the match against the Revival last week, and he's just immediately lovable. I don't know if did you mention the bit where he kind of comes out and sort of picks...
Not yet. We get on to that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we could just talk about it now because it's literally after the next segment.
So they cut backstage, and you see him walking along, and then he spots the cake on the floor, and he picks it up, and he probably thinks that Mandy
did it.
So he's going to be heartbroken. She's going to have to explain to him next week that she would never break his cake.
I don't understand why Mandy didn't clean it up though.
or
get someone to.
Oh, well, it's there.
Well, destroyed the cake. Not my problem.
He iced that cake for her.
Exactly, yeah. Well, maybe his mum did. Like I said before, really basic storytelling, but it's doing exactly what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
I'm into it. Mustafa Ali had a backstage kind of edited promo, which I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, because you saw the stamp. That's the first time I've properly seen that stamp. And when you see his eye just kind of swell up into this,
Should probably explain what the stamp is.
Yes. So early this year, as many people know, he was set to take part in a gauntlet match to decide the what was it?
It was the gauntlet match for the Elimination Chamber? Question mark? Number one contender for Fastlane? I don't know.
There was a gauntlet match, and he was supposed to be in it, but the week prior to that, he was in a match with Randy Orton, and he got stepped on, or basically just stamped on, and
on the face.
Yeah, and you see it in slow mo, and Randy basically catches him right in the eye with his heel, and his whole eye just swells. I mean, you can see that something is wrong there, and which forced him to be pulled out from the match. Kofi was put in, and that's basically how Kofi Mania started.
Yep.
Would we have had Ali Mania? I don't know, Mustafa Ali as he now is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of mentioning things that happened through the year.
Mustafa Mania is so much better.
and how there was darkness, but he always tries to bring the light.
Yes. He's saying 2019 wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Here's this thing that went wrong. Here's that thing that went wrong. Here's this other thing that went wrong. But in 2020, he's going to continue his pursuit to be a champion.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. I can get on board with that. And I think it'll be a really cool moment when he does, if he continues, through promos and through things like that, try and get this story over as like, I haven't been a champion yet. I really want to be a champion. I think once he eventually does win the championship, a championship of some description.
I can see him winning the IC. I can see Braun will probably beat Shinsuke.
That's what I assumed. Braun will drop it to someone.
Yeah, and then Ali can win that. Or he'll just have a feud with Sheamus as a kind of battle of the who can have the longest line of promos on consecutive shows.
Could do that. I'm thinking that Strowman beats Nakamura. Sheamus beats Strowman when he comes back for the IC, and then Mustafa Ali goes against Sheamus. Yeah. Eventually, maybe after a couple different feuds for Sheamus, Ali comes in. Maybe at SummerSlam time, Ali comes in and wins it then.
The SmackDown roster is a bit thin, and as you mentioned in your news, it appears that the Usos are going back to Raw, so they're not going to get those either. So the SmackDown roster is looking a bit thin on the ground, especially the tag division, which is why they're kind of having to make all these Franken teams between Nakamura and Zayn and Cesaro and stuff. Yeah. But no, it was. I think that's the last thing that happened, apart from the main event.
Yes, after that, it was just the main event, which we've already spoken about. So I mean,
for me,
overall,
it was a perfectly good show. Nothing bad happened, really. Mm-hmm. There was you can get annoyed about the sort of them restarting the match a few times, but yeah, for me, it's a high 3 out of 5. Mm-hmm. I don't think I can give it a 4 because there was nothing outstanding. But I enjoyed the majority of the matches, and I'm continuing to enjoy the Otis stuff. And having Bryan win was the right decision.
Yeah, I agree. I actually gave it a low smacktastic, a low 4 out of 5.
Do positive, Pete.
Because positive Pete. Because I really enjoyed the vast majority of stuff on this show, honestly. Like, I really liked the Otis Mandy story, and I thought that main event was class. That 6-man tag match was great. Yeah. I really enjoyed the Lacey stuff, and even Carmella and Mady Rose. It was a quick match, but it had some cool spots in it, and it did what it needed to do. So yeah, I'm going to give it a low 4 out of 5 for that one. According to you guys, if we look at the community tab poll we did earlier, 7.7 thousand votes currently. 59% of people voting smack bang in the middle.
I was right.
3 out of 5. With 14% saying smack downer as a 2 out of 5, and 13% saying smacktastic. So it's very, very close.
But some
in
people
that middle
still
bracket.
Clearly drunk from Christmas. 4% said smacknificent.
And 10% said a smack in the face. So yeah, overall, very much kind of in that middle bracket. But let's see what else you guys thought. Let's get into some more super chats. Dan, Mayor of Painesville Dan, comes in to say, "Hi guys, aren't these super chats great? I can ask you anything. Wonderful stuff. So, when Ruby Riott returns, where should she go? Raw, SmackDown, or NXT?"
Good question, Dan. I hope you're having a big one. Ruby Riott. That's a good question. She is fit. She's ready to return, apparently.
Yes.
So if she returns, it'll probably be at the Royal Rumble.
I'd assume so.
Because the rosters only have 10 people in each one. So basically everyone has to be in the match. Mm-hmm. I'd put her on... Raw. I'd put her on Raw. Because I think it needs some more sort of challenges for Becky Lynch. Because she's got Asuka, but I imagine she's going to beat Asuka as a kind of redemption story because she lost last year.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Who's she going to face?
Charlotte again.
Yeah, Charlotte. So I would happily see her go back anywhere because as she proved on NXT, she's really good.
She's great.
Ruby Riott's a brilliant wrestler.
Yeah. Needs to give her a bit more shine.
Yeah. So I'd be happy to see her go anywhere, but just basically put her the place where she's actually going to get a singles run.
Yes.
And a shot at a title because she's more than capable.
Yeah. Jobber JJ comes in to say, why does everyone say Ronda return and Reigns will not? Can us fans and WWE move forward and stop going into the past? We will have 2 new winners, new stars. Oh, so it's saying Rumble winners.
Okay.
It's saying Ronda and Roman. And that's just the common fan theory right now. I think Ronda returning is probably what they want to do. I don't think they actually wanted her to leave after Mania last year.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
But
she has a 3-year contract, so they clearly didn't plan on her leaving.
So I think her returning, they're going to be really pushing for that. And for her to come in and win the Rumble, where she made her debut, 2 years ago, I think that's going to be kind of a big moment that they're going to want to have.
Unfortunately, it's the logical decision, which probably means it's not going to happen.
Possibly, yeah.
But it makes sense because that allows Roman to just challenge whoever he likes at WrestleMania, which will probably be The Fiend, and it allows Ronda or Shayna, as it may be, to set up a rematch with Becky.
I just thought of something. What if Reigns wins and then challenges Lesnar?
Next question.
But in agreement with you, though, Jobber JJ, I would love it if we have 2 new winners and 2 new stars. That would be great. I just don't think that's what they're going to do.
I want more people to win it and who haven't won it before. I know Ronda hasn't won it before, but there are other people who could win it.
Exactly, yeah. We've got some general WrestleTalk related super chats now. Speedbite Gaming said, it's Chandy.
Is that our name?
I don't know. So Christmas evening, I got engaged!
Oh my
God! Congratulations!
Didn't you get engaged recently?
No!
Christmas. I don't know if he means Christmas Eve or the evening of Christmas.
Christmas evening. I would assume
that's amazing.
That is. Congratulations.
Well done. That's
give us an invite for your wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't know where it is. Wait, he's called Spiegbite. So I'm assuming you're German. Speig is a German word.
Sure.
So invite us along. I will definitely be there, and I will happily be the priest. I'll roll all the R's.
And the final one from Felix Swag 42 is just a super chat, but with no message.
Thank you, Felix Swag 42.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your super chats, and thank you all for watching. That's all the time we've got on this WrestleTalk live review of this SmackDown. We're going to be back later on. Me and Luke are going to be doing the Raw review on Tuesday because Ollie's still off. And then after that, we're going to have everything back again. AEW, NXT, SmackDown, the whole works. We're back into it. So if you're watching this video on catch up, please press the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things. And this button right here that'll make you a pledge hammer on Patreon. I've been Chopper Peak Cornell. This is Randy Andy Datson. And that was Smack.